Hey everyone, welcome back to the British Accent Podcast, where we explore how learning English can be practical, fun, and surprisingly personal. I'm James.
And I'm Olivia. Today's episode is one of those what-if conversations that really makes you think. If you could only learn English from one movie, just one, what would it be?
Exactly. Now of course, in real life, you don't have to choose only one. But thinking this way forces us to get creative, like, what movie has the best mix of useful dialogue, everyday vocabulary, cultural context, and maybe even a bit of emotional connection?
And let's be honest, it's also just a fun way to talk about movies we love. But we'll break it down seriously. What makes a movie actually good for language learning? Because not all movies are created equal when it comes to clear speech or realistic conversation.
Yeah, like, you probably don't want to pick something where everyone's mumbling or shouting over explosions the whole time.
Right? So let's start with some criteria. When we think about the one perfect English learning movie, what do we want it to have?
Well, first, I'd say clarity of dialogue. You want characters who speak at a natural but understandable pace, using words and phrases you'd actually hear in real life.
Exactly. So maybe no deep medieval fantasy where everyone's talking like they're in Shakespeare's time, unless that's your thing, of course. But for most learners, modern, everyday English is the goal.
Next up, variety. You want to hear different accents, tones, maybe even a range of formal and informal speech. That way, you get exposed to how English changes depending on who's speaking.
I'd also add repetition. A movie that uses key phrases multiple times helps you remember them more easily. And bonus points if it's a story that's emotional or funny, because when you feel something, you're more likely to remember what was said.
So with all that in mind, let's talk picks. Olivia, if you had to choose one movie to learn English from, what would it be?
Ooh, tough one, but I think I'd go with The Pursuit of Happyness. It's emotional. The language is clear and heartfelt, and it's full of real-life situations, job interviews, father-son conversations, daily struggles. You hear formal and informal speech, and you learn a lot about American culture and motivation.
That's a solid choice. Will Smith's delivery is really clear, and the story keeps you emotionally engaged.
Exactly. What about you?
I think I'd go for something a bit more British, no surprise there. Probably Notting Hill. You've got different accents, polite small talk, romantic conversations, awkward social situations, all of which are super useful for real-world English. Plus, it's funny and charming, so you don't feel like you're studying.
I love that one. And Hugh Grant's way of speaking is so classic, soft-spoken, expressive, and full of those little British turns of phrase.
And that's another great point, movies like that teach you cultural rhythm. Like how people joke, apologize, flirt, hesitate, all those things that don't show up in textbooks.
So if you're listening right now, try thinking about a movie that really speaks to you. What genre do you love? Comedy? Drama? Action? Because when you're emotionally invested, you're going to learn faster and have more fun doing it.
Absolutely. And the great thing is, once you do find that one movie, you can watch it over and over, and every time, you'll catch something new. A phrase you didn't understand before suddenly makes sense. A joke finally lands. Or you notice how a character says something in a way that you want to try using in your own conversations.
Yes. And watching with subtitles the first time can help, but then turning them off later really trains your ear. You start focusing on intonation, pronunciation, and even nonverbal communication, body language, facial expressions, all those subtle things that make English more than just words.
You know what's also cool? You can shadow the movie. That's when you pause and repeat what the character just said, mimicking their tone, speed, and rhythm. It feels awkward at first, but it's one of the most effective ways to improve fluency and sound more natural.
Exactly. And movies are full of real language moments, interruptions, hesitation, even filler words like you know, like, or I mean. These are gold for learners who want to sound less robotic and more like real people.
Another trick? Choose a character you really admire and study how they speak. Maybe it's Julia Roberts in Notting Hill, or Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happyness like you mentioned. Learn how they express themselves, how they ask questions, show emotion, or even disagree politely.
It makes learning feel like storytelling. You're not just memorizing words, you're stepping into someone else's shoes. And in a way, that's the power of language. It lets you become a different version of yourself. One who can navigate different cultures, connect with more people, and express more sides of who you are.
Exactly. It's almost like learning English through a movie helps you develop a second personality, not in a strange way, but in a confident, expressive way. You start to notice, hey, I can be funny in English, or I can be charming, or I can explain something clearly, just like the characters you're watching.
And once you've watched your chosen movie enough times, you'll notice that some scenes become part of your thinking. Like when you're in a similar situation in real life, the lines pop into your head, and boom, you know what to say.
Yes. That's when you know it's working. You're not just translating from your native language, you're thinking in English, because your brain remembers the movie scenes as real experiences.
And this works even better if you talk about the movie with other learners. Try starting a conversation in an online group or English club. Like, hey, what did you think of that scene where, or did you catch that expression he used when he was nervous? You learn so much more when you process the film through conversation.
That's such a good point. It turns a solo activity into something social and engaging. And again, language is meant to connect people, not just fill up notebooks.
So even if you're shy or just starting out, don't be afraid to make one movie your personal classroom. Watch it. Rewatch it. Quote it. Laugh with it. Cry with it. And grow with it.
Because sometimes, the best English teacher might be a fictional character who says the right thing at the right time, and suddenly, you get it. You feel it. You own it.
And that emotional connection. That's the glue. It sticks those words, those phrases, those expressions deep in your memory. You're not just memorizing lines, you're living them in your imagination. That's way more powerful than any vocabulary list.
Totally agree. And the beauty of it is, no matter what kind of learner you are, visual, auditory, emotional, movies cover all of it. You see, hear, and feel everything at once. It's immersive without needing a plane ticket.
Plus, it's flexible. Busy day. Watch just one scene. Got time on the weekend? Do a full rewatch. Pause. Rewind. Look up words. Try saying the line yourself. It's like a language workout you can control.
And let's be honest, language learning needs to feel good sometimes. We all hit those frustrating days when we forget simple words or get stuck. But rewatching a favorite scene, laughing at a clever line, or feeling inspired by a speech in a film, that can remind you why you started learning English in the first place.
Exactly. It keeps your motivation alive. And the more you enjoy the process, the faster you'll improve. So if someone asked you, what's the one movie that taught you the most English? You'd be able to smile and say, let me tell you the story behind that.
And maybe even quote a line right on the spot, like, life is like a box of chocolates. Or, to infinity and beyond. It's fun, it's memorable, and it instantly shows people that you've absorbed the language through something meaningful.
Exactly. And it's not just about the famous quotes either, it's the little things. The way someone says, "Are you okay?" with genuine care. Or how a character hesitates and says, "Well, I guess we could." That kind of natural English is gold when you're trying to sound authentic.
Yeah, because textbooks rarely teach you how to say something. They just give you the what. But movies? They teach the how, tone, rhythm, even pauses. It's the difference between sounding like a beginner and sounding like someone who's really connected to the language.
And when you start picking up on humor, sarcasm, or even flirting in English films, that's next level. That's when you know you're starting to think like a native speaker, not just translate like a student.
So the next time you're wondering how to make your English learning more personal, more enjoyable, and more effective, ask yourself, if I could only learn English from one movie, which one would it be?
And once you have that answer, watch it, love it, and let it become your secret English superpower.
Because in the end, learning English isn't just about grammar rules or perfect pronunciation, it's about connecting. With stories, with characters, and most importantly, with yourself. A great movie doesn't just teach you English, it reminds you why you wanted to learn in the first place.
So find that one movie that makes you feel something. Watch it again and again. Make it part of your journey. Let it inspire you, teach you, and help you grow, not just as a language learner, but as a storyteller in your own life.
Thanks for joining us today on the British Accent Podcast. We hope this episode helped you see that your favorite film might just be your best teacher.
Until next time, keep learning, keep watching, and remember, every word you learn brings you closer to the version of yourself you're becoming.
Take care, and see you in the next episode.